I'll take care of this one.
Well, hello, Hot Pants. I don't suppose you have a driver's license tucked down in there somewhere, do you?
They stole an ambulance from a hospital, flew an illegal jet that got the FBI involved, hired priests who showed up drunk with real alcohol, and somehow convinced Roger Moore to mock James Bond while still playing James Bond. The Cannonball Run wasn't a movie. It was a crime scene with cameras. And what you're about to hear will make you wonder how anyone involved stayed out of prison. Number 1. This entire movie is based on a felony that happened 5 times in the 1970s. In 1971, car journalist Brock Yates and racer Dan Gurney decided speed limits were an attack on freedom, so they jumped in a modified Dodge van and shattered the cross-country record, tearing from New York to LA in under 36 hours with 0 permits. They called it the Cannonball Baker Memorial Trophy Dash, after a 1900s racer who crossed America over 140 times. This wasn't a stunt, it was protest. Between 1971 and 1979, 5 illegal races happened with lunatics and Ferraris, motorcycles, even ambulances disguised as emergency vehicles. People risked jail just to prove speed limits were garbage. Then Yates partnered with stuntman Hal Needham, turned his crimes into a screenplay, and Hollywood paid him to recreate it all. Number 2. Yates didn't just write it, he's actually in the movie playing a race official at the starting line. Clipboard in hand, sunglasses on, the guy who invented the illegal race is now pretending to legitimize it for cameras. In 1971, this same man hid in an ambulance with his wife, faking medical emergencies to avoid cops. Years later, he's collecting a Hollywood paycheck, watching actors parody his actual crimes. Only in America can you break laws for years, write about it, then get paid to cameo in the movie version. Number 3. Burt Reynolds was Hollywood's biggest star in 1980 after Smokey and the Bandit. He didn't need this movie. Hal Needham was his friend, the money was huge, so he said yes. Decades later, Reynolds called it one of his worst career decisions. He admitted he treated filming like a vacation with cameras present. No script prep, no rehearsals, he just goofed around with famous friends. When he watched the finished film, he was embarrassed. Audiences disagreed and made it a massive hit, teaching Reynolds that sometimes people want mindless fun over quality, even when the star thinks the project is trash. Number 4. Farrah Fawcett prepared for her role like it was a serious drama. She memorized lines, developed character backstory, planned wardrobe around emotional beats. Then Dean Martin stumbled on set in a priest costume, visibly drunk, making jokes about communion wine. That's when she realized this wasn't what she signed up for. Fawcett later admitted she didn't know the Cannonball Run was a comedy until she heard theater audiences laughing at scenes she'd performed seriously. Her confusion wasn't acting, it was real shock, and ironically, that bewildered energy made her performance better. Number 5. The Dodge ambulance isn't a prop, it's the actual vehicle Yates and Needham drove in the 1979 Cannonball. They disguised it as emergency transport, put a fake patient in back, and counted on cops respecting ambulances to avoid getting stopped. It worked until the engine exploded in the California desert. Instead of scrapping it, they brought it to Hollywood and made it Burt Reynolds' ride. That ambulance is a genuine criminal accomplice that helped 2 men break traffic laws across a dozen states before becoming a movie star. Number 6. Sammy Davis Jr.'s role as the gambling priest was never meant for him. Don Rickles was cast first, contract signed, everything ready. Then Rickles vanished. Some say scheduling conflicts, others say creative clashes. Whatever happened, he quit, and Sammy Davis Jr. stepped in immediately, bringing completely different energy that created perfect chemistry with Dean Martin. Sometimes your backup plan beats your original vision. Number 7. The alcohol in Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr.'s hands wasn't fake. Both showed up drunk more often than sober. They'd arrive late, forget lines, improvise complete nonsense that somehow worked. Hal Needham stopped fighting it and just kept cameras rolling. In one scene, Sammy slurred a prayer so badly they had to replace the entire audio in post-production. Dean just laughed and poured another drink. They weren't acting drunk. They were drunk men in priest costumes, and that genuine intoxication created comedy no sober performance could match. Number 8. Roger Moore plays Seymour Goldfarb Jr., a rich lunatic who genuinely thinks he's James Bond. He drives an Aston Martin with gadgets, wears a tux, and introduces himself as Moore, Roger Moore. It's brilliant meta-comedy that almost didn't happen because the real Bond producers were furious. They couldn't stop it legally, but they rewrote all future contracts so no Bond actor could ever mock the role again. Moore became the only 007 to play Bond for laughs, while actively starring as Bond in serious films. and this movie made sure he'd be the last. Number 9. Stuntwoman Heidi von Beltz was in an Aston Martin during a crash scene when crew failed to secure her seatbelt properly. The car hit a truck as planned, but Heidi wasn't restrained. She survived, but was permanently paralyzed. Her case became a turning point for Hollywood safety. The Directors Guild banned on-location stunt changes and mandated safety equipment in all vehicles. The movie kept rolling, and audiences kept laughing. But behind the comedy, a woman's life was destroyed, and her tragedy finally forced the industry to prioritize safety. Number 10. Jackie Chan treated his small role like an audition for American stardom. He flipped through windows, executed fight choreography with lightning precision. Much of his best work was cut because editors thought it was too violent for a comedy. American censors didn't know how to handle a martial artist moving that fast in a car movie. Chan was disappointed, but those brief scenes introduced him to Western audiences. It would take years before Hollywood understood what he could do, but this was his first foothold in American cinema. Number 11. Proper scripts don't exist in Hal Needham's world. Scenes were rewritten in parking lots minutes before filming. Actors arrived not knowing what they'd shoot. Farrah Fawcett never saw a complete script. Dom DeLuise made up half his lines. Dean Martin said whatever came to mind. There was no plan. Crews just rolled until something funny happened. It violated every filmmaking convention, but that raw, spontaneous energy gave the film an unpredictable quality polished scripts couldn't achieve. Number 12. Most films end when credits roll. The Cannonball Run continued into an extended blooper reel, showing every mistake and moment actors collapsed laughing. Audiences loved it. Jackie Chan was so inspired he permanently adopted bloopers for his own films, starting with Dragon Lord in 1982. The mistakes, injuries, and authentic laughter became part of his brand. That entire approach originated with this movie, and now blooper reels are standard in comedy films industry-wide. Number 13. The Cannonball Run features two separate insane aviation stunts that both pushed legal boundaries. The famous beer run scene where Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise land a plane in a small town square was filmed in Covington, Georgia, using a real MAL M5 aircraft. The city had to temporarily remove power lines and set up barriers so the actual plane could land on the street. You can see the prop wash blowing items around the store interior as it turns. That's completely real with zero CGI. But the truly illegal moment involves a different aircraft. The production used a real Learjet 23 for high-speed, low-altitude flying sequences, filming it skimming just feet off a narrow road at dangerous speeds. This Learjet stunt was reportedly done without official FAA permits. When federal authorities discovered what happened, they launched an investigation. Hal Needham had to personally intervene and manage the legal consequences, proving that even the flying scenes in this comedy were recklessly authentic. Number 14. Jackie Chan's American debut came with an insult he never forgave. Despite being Chinese, the credits listed him as Japanese. To Chan, that cultural distinction carries enormous significance. He called it disrespectful to his heritage. Despite his anger, he delivered an exceptional performance doing his own stunts. But privately, he was furious, and that frustration motivated him to eventually make films on his own terms, where his culture would be accurately represented. This movie introduced Chan to America, but also showed him how little Hollywood cared about Asian cultures. Number 15. During a Vegas chase scene, the crew started filming without permits or notifying police. Real cops spotted the commotion, thought it was an actual crime, and responded hot. For several minutes, the movie became a real police pursuit. Actors froze. Crews scattered. Someone screamed, "Cut!" but it was too late. After a tense standoff and frantic explaining, police let them go with a severe warning. Needham smiled, waited for them to leave, then immediately resumed shooting because nothing was stopping this production. Number 16. Studios usually wait for box office results before greenlighting sequels. The Cannonball Run got its sequel approved before the first film finished production. Executives watched rough cuts, saw test audiences laughing, and immediately ordered Cannonball Run 2. The first movie wasn't edited yet. The sequel script didn't exist. Nobody cared. They saw stars, stunts, and profit potential. The studio wanted more immediately, because this was never about art. It was about generating revenue as fast as possible. The Cannonball Run represents a moment in cinema that cannot be recreated. Modern Hollywood would never allow drunk actors on set, wouldn't film without permits and insurance, couldn't authorize illegal jets, and wouldn't tolerate improvised scripts with minimal safety protocols. This film exists because 1981 sat at a unique intersection where 1970s creative freedom collided with 1980s blockbuster mentality. Burt Reynolds had enough star power to make an expensive home video with celebrity friends, and studios financed it based on profit speculation. Their gamble paid off with $72 million in revenue, launched a sequel, influenced Jackie Chan's filmmaking forever, and popularized blooper reels across the industry. It's a magnificent disaster that succeeded spectacularly, and Hollywood will never permit anything like it again. Tell me what other chaotic classics deserve this treatment, and I'll see you next time when we explore another piece of cinema that shouldn't exist, but thank God it does.